it's Catalina coming to you from Lone Sense in my wonderful home studio, aka my living room. I'm going to be talking to you today about this article that I found very compelling that delineates data and attitudes between Gen Z and millennials when it comes to home ownership goals. Obviously, our generation, I'm a millennial. So when I say our generation, I mean those that are at the prime time of the purchaser market, like primary purchases, which are millennials. Gen Z will soon be catching up, but right now we could see, it's interesting, moving from 1993 to 2019, seeing the shrinking of the percentage of people from age 30 to 34, as well as from 35 to 44, that are owning is quite incredible, especially from 35 to 44. Like here, it looks like 20%, slightly less, closer to 15, now like inching lower and lower, while those 55 to 64 are significantly increasing their ownership percentage over this time. So we're making home ownership harder and harder for the primary purchaser market to achieve. And this specifically lines up with student loans and the debt consumers are taking on at younger and younger ages. This report speaks specifically about, they name student loans specifically. Millennial generation, defined as those born between 1981 and 1996, ended up with plenty of student loan debt and difficulties in finding suitable employment after their education ended. So I graduated in 2008. So that was the height of the economic crisis. The majority of my classmates could not find a job. I luckily found a job for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. It was a government job for those who wanted to go to law school, very prestigious for those who want to go to law school, but we didn't make very much money. Like, it wasn't a job you took to make a lot of money. It was a job you took to get a job at that time, but also to build up your credentials to potentially go to law school. I didn't end up going to law school. I left soon after, but the point is, I was just so thankful to get a job. So many people in my generation, like I had friends graduating, like especially friends graduating from state schools, and of course not to knock state schools, but they were coming out and like literally working at Bed Bath & Beyond and retail until the until the employment market became improved, okay? So our generation was definitely affected by that. So it's interesting to see the difference between Gen Z and millennials in terms of whose attitude agreed with, like, I would like to own a home in the future. Significantly higher percentages of Gen Z say they want to, like 85% it looks like, as compared to only 62% of millennials. So I thought that they say 63%. So it's very interesting that there's a 20% gap between Gen Z's homeownership desires as compared, and maybe it's because Gen Z is graduating, they're young, and they got exposed to the work from home culture right away. Who knows? That's part of the explanation here. But between the generations, homeownership is a way to build wealth. Almost 70% of Gen Zs believe that, 68%, whereas millennials, only 60% believe that. So it's interesting to see that there's an 8-point difference between the generation, and maybe because millennials were just, they're jaded from their experience, what they went through with the economic crash, and now, of course, in their 30s, like I am, I'm mid-30s, our prime buying time in the purchaser market. Now we have this pandemic, and, our interest rates are rising. The housing prices are becoming very inaccessible for a lot of us. So it affects our attitudes towards home ownership, okay? So I think this part is super interesting. Only half of millennials, according to the Legal and General Survey, currently don't own a house but are actively saving to buy one. So 50%, right? That's not horrible. But 36 said that their student debt burden was a lending barrier to saving. It was a leading barrier, to saving for a down payment. And those between 25 to 29 are more concerned about their student debt than their older counterparts. So it's interesting because I think it depends on your educational attainment and how much debt you have as well. But student debt is constantly listed for our generation, and that's what we do at Loan Sense, right? As a product, is be able to get people in the right plan so that we can lower this psychological barrier for borrowers who believe they can't attain something. We can lower that psychological barrier, as well as we can help approve and qualify people in the pipeline who are saving, actively saving and exploring, right? So Gen Z are saving. Gen Z are saving or investing a portion of their $360 billion in disposable income. So 7.3 million Gen Zs in full-time employment, generating about $229 billion in annual total income. That's really interesting. About 85% of Gen Z's respondents claim that they're putting aside an average of 32% of what they bring in. So Gen Zs seem like much more aggressive savers than millennials, actually. Over 3/4 put their money into traditional savings account, while 26% play the stock market, 14% are already saving for retirement, and 13% are putting funds into money market accounts, and 6% are buying non-fungible tokens. So that's an interesting way to know how people are investing their money. They may buy homes at younger age than millennials. So if you're a lender, like, don't discount Gen Z, because it seems like from these attitude surveys that Gen Zs are much more aggressive savers. They have a much more positive outlook on home ownership, as well as actions of saving towards it, right? So that's good news for the next wave of buyers. At age 30, 42% of millennials own a home, in contrast to 48% of Gen Xers who own homes by that age, and 51%. So basically, as each generation goes on, it seems like a lower and lower percentage are owning homes, which make me a little sad, but I'm very hopeful for the Gen Z generation, because all these attitudinal surveys suggest that Gen Z will buy homes at rates that exceed Gen Xers by the age of 30. So we have a positive outlook here on Gen Zs. So let's not hate too much on younger borrowers, right? In terms of their ability to buy, especially if they're in high-skilled jobs, working from home, and they live in an affordable region. Like, you shouldn't discount a 25-year-old buyer, right? They could possibly compete. So this is interesting. Mortgage originators should look at the student loan market for guidance on working with Gen Zers. Oh, surprise! That's like us. That's said by the CEO of Campus Door. I don't know much about Campus Door, but I'm the CEO of Loan Sense. If you want to know more about us, happy to tell you about how we can qualify your borrowers and work with you to help get the Gen Zers over the line. So it's really important, though, that we address student loans in order to get them over the line. So interesting. I don't know what this is about, but let's take a look at this final tip. Some of the expectations may be inspired by 28. Is this an ad? Oh my God, this is an ad. They made the ad fit into this article so well. So anyways, that's the news for this article. It is an important article for us to understand attitudinal trends, as well as not just attitude, but like rate of savings and actual action to achieve buying readiness, right? So I thought this data would be super interesting for you all as loan officers. Let us know if you have any questions. We hold lender demos daily. To help more of your borrowers, not just go from a no to a yes in terms of affordability, but to go from yes, but yes more, so that they can afford that extra bathroom, the nicer school system, whatever it is they care about. And we're working with loan officers every day to help their borrowers achieve this, and are getting rave consumer reviews, as well as helping pull more consumers through your lending pipeline. So love to help you achieve higher loan origination volume and help more of our generation close on a home today.